Hello friends, it's Jeff, making another hopefully quick video this Friday afternoon, and finally have a weekend off, which is pretty nice. Looking forward to that, and my search for a turntable continues. I've been doing a lot of reading of reviews, and it's not helping me as much as I thought it would, because reading audio equipment reviews on things like turntables is really kind of frustrating. It's almost like reading wine reviews or coffee. That people are trying to describe the airy quality of the turntable and how it's able to handle the bass with punch and this and that, and I don't know. Hearing is very subjective, I guess, so we'll just have to see. I'm just going to keep looking, and in the meantime, this Pioneer PL600, which is my current turntable, specs out much higher than any modern day turntable does. I don't even know if those numbers are still true, being that this turntable is 37 years old versus a new one. But when it was new, this Pioneer had a much higher signal to noise ratio, which is the strength of the signal, in this case music, versus the background noise. And the higher the number, the better supposedly the sound. And the current contender of what I'm thinking about maybe possibly buying is a Project Debut Carbon Esprit SB turntable. I don't know if they could add any more to that title. And that's has a much lower ratio by about 10 decibels. Does it make one better than the other? Does one sound worse or better than the other? I don't know. Who knows? So, in the meantime, I'm still not convinced that this turntable is bad. I'm trying to figure out exactly what's wrong. So, I bought a stylus tracking force gauge for this, which is basically a tiny little scale to tell you exactly what the tracking force is for the cartridge, if it matches up with the dial on the tone arm. And I also bought an alignment protractor to make sure that the cartridge itself is perfectly aligned. When it comes to things like old school audio, it's a lot more tricky and finicky than I expected, and I'm just going through everything that I possibly can with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that everything is correct. So we'll see. Belt drive turntables versus direct drive. Is one better than the other? I don't know. If this one is a direct drive, and it's fine. The one I had before this, the original turntable that came with this setup, was a belt drive. I used it for 25 years and it was fine. So my dog is barking and she won't shut up. And so yeah, enough about that. And the first video I made when I started making these videos again, when I was talking about estate sales, there was a record that I bought, but I couldn't remember what it was. And it turns out, in the wacky way my mind works, I forgot it was the Best of B.B. King collection. This is just the back cover. And when I was at the sale, I just pulled the record out quickly to look at it, and it looked like it was in nice shape, so I just bought it. But when I got it home, I don't know if I'll be able to show this. Here we go. I don't know if you can see That right there. It's a pretty, there we go, pretty significant warp. So even though the vinyl itself looks shiny, it is not straight by any means. And I thought at the time that maybe it wouldn't matter, maybe it wouldn't be that bad, I could still play it. I put it on, and as soon as I put the needle down, it hit that warp and it just knocked the tone arm clear off the record. It just flipped it. So yeah. This also has the old school ABC Records label, which is only on one other album of mine that has these alphabet letter blocks on them. It's one of my Steely Dan albums. My Can't Buy a Thrill, and that copy has this label. I didn't know anybody else besides Steely Dan was on ABC Records, so when I saw this, I bought this half for just the label, besides liking B.B. King's music, which I'm kind of annoyed that I can't play this record, but this could be a future video topic, trying to get warps out of records if it's at all possible. I don't know. So that was just a little bit of business from a couple of videos ago that I just figured I'd bring up because just the way I am, I guess. I don't know. But to the best part of this video, I got a package in the mail today, not today, 2 days ago, from Third Man Records. And it was the vault package that Third Man Records puts out a couple times a year. I'll just hold this up like this. Maybe it'll get a good screenshot. This is the 10th anniversary reissue of the White Stripes' Icky Thump album. And it comes in this very large, very soft to the touch box. And inside has some of the coolest looking colored vinyl I've ever seen. And definitely probably the coolest colored vinyl that I own in my collection. But I'll give you a little look through this whole set. First of all, this set comes with 2 pins. That horse, the front half is 1 pin and the second half is a second pin. Specially designed for this set. A photo album of the making of the Icky Thump record. Also comes with it, which is pretty cool. A lyric sheet and credits. These are all the lyrics to the songs on the album, which is nice. And it also came with a print, which is kind of interesting to look at. I'm not even sure what it is, but I like it. And usually these vault packages come with an album and like 133 and a third album, and it usually comes with a 45 and some kind of extra thing, like in this case the pin, say. But for this set there's no 45, but we get 3 albums, which is probably the most generous that any of these sets have been. I think I could do another whole video on Third Man vaults, because I have like 5 or 6 of these. Let me just show you. This is actually an album of demo recordings. Basically, it's the entire Icky Thump album as demos, which I guess was the first time that Jack White did that for an album. This is just I believe this is just a regular black vinyl album. The second one is an album of extras. These are B-sides and other recordings that were made during the album but didn't wind up on the album itself. So we have that. I don't know if you can see all the tracks on there. I can bring it a little closer. And this album cover kind of goes with this print, which is kind of cool. And this is a white vinyl album. But the real get in this set is the actual remastered edition of Icky Thump album. There's the back cover. Of course, it is a gatefold. Now, let me show you these albums. This is the first disc. As you can see, it's white with red streaks. But you flip it over, you got this. Isn't that something? That's a beautiful, interesting looking album, isn't it? It's very thick, heavy vinyl. And that's just the first album. The second album, sorry, Molly's up at the corner and she just woke up. She doesn't know what I'm doing. This is the second disc, which is red with black stripes. There's the back side of that. So that's pretty cool, in my opinion. So there you go. That's the vault package for the 10th anniversary reissue of the Icky Thump album. These aren't cheap. These sets are $60. You can find that out on thirdmanrecords.com. But for something like this, I think it's pretty worth the money. Not that these are investment records for me. I'm actually going to listen to them and enjoy them. But secondary market prices for these sets are pretty high. So once they get pressed, that's it. It's only one press run for these. So they're fairly rare, but the music is really, really good. Okay, we're at 13.5 minutes here, so I'm going to wrap this up. I got a whole stack of records in earlier in the week, which I'll probably be making another video later, hopefully over the weekend, and I'll show them to you. And we'll keep on trucking with the search for a new turntable or fixing this old one. I don't know. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. And I'll talk to you soon.